Hello, welcome to Ellen Ruth Soap. I'm Ellen, and today I am making a soap using this fragrance. It's called Apple Garland from Wholesale Supplies Plus. Got good reviews, says it didn't cause discoloration, acceleration, separation. We shall see. I've never soaped with this before. Let's give it a try. It does. It smells really apple-y, but with more. There's more to it. There's a little pine, a little complexity behind it. It's wonderful. But it got me thinking of apples and all the different kinds of apples. When we lived in Virginia, we went out to an apple orchard once. They had purple wine apples, and I mean, everything on the range of colors from deep plum purple through to red to greens to yellows. It was amazing. I love apples. I think Honeycrisp and Pink Ladies are my favorites. But for the colors, so I'm just thinking basic apple colors. We're gonna go ahead and do, I know this says Martini Olive Green, but this is gonna be for my green apple, like a Granny Smith. That was the closest I had to like a Granny Smith type color. And then for my red apples, Red Delicious, I'm gonna use Trial by Fire. Okay, we got the red and the green apples, and for my Golden Delicious, I have Sunshine Yellow from Be Scented, and it's a very pale yellow, and that kind of reminded me of Golden Delicious apples. So we've got 3 apple colors. Let's see if I can lift these all up. There we go, my 3 apples. I may do some piping on top. I'm still leaving it open. Let's see how this fragrance behaves. But if it behaves well, I might do some piping on top, maybe little dollops with leaves. I don't know. I'm still formulating, but I'm excited. I love apples. They're good for you. Apple a day, right? That whole thing. So this will be a goat milk and oil method soap today. And I'm going to get everything pulled together, and let's come back and make some Apple Garland soap. All right, it's time for the additives in the Apple Garland soap. But first, I've got a couple things going on. I formulated a plan. I want to do layers, so I have pitchers off to the side. After I get the lye mixed in here and get it up to emulsion, I will split it off into 3 equal parts, and I want to do layers with my organic cacao powder as a line. It's not a mica line, it's a cocoa powder line. So I've got my little tea strainer. I'm going to do some cocoa powder in between the layers so that they really pop and stand out. And then I have my piping bag tips all ready to go. I have little star tips for the apple colors, and then a leaf tip to pipe some leaves if everything's looking great and performing well. I've just like to have everything ready to go. So for the leaves, if everything's going good and I'm going to pipe leaves, I have my matte woodland green pigment will be my leaves on top of the apples, and we already talked about those colors. So I'm going kind of fast, but I just wanted to tell you everything that is going on off screen here. Right now, let's get to the additives. I'm doing, of course, my goat milk and oil method. So here is my goat milk that I have water discounted from the liquid portion in the lye. So that's going in there. And I've got my colloidal oats. I got asked how much dry ingredients can you put in a soap, and there's no really hard and fast rule. You can put too much in here. A nice gauge is about 1 teaspoon or so per pound of oils. If you want to do that, you can go a little more or less. With clays, you can really play around with clays, but you know, just for having dry ingredients in your soap so you don't overload, shoot for around 1 teaspoon per pound of oils. So these are 2 tablespoon scoops of those that I'm doing, and here is my heavy cream powder that's going in there also. And again, it's I would say if you really want to get into adding the dry ingredients, you know, start small, see how you like it, see how you like how it behaves, and play around with it and see, and then you can go up from there. It's always good to start out cautious and build up from there. So let me get this blended in, and then we'll come back and get going with our layers. All right, it's time to make soap, and here is my lye solution, which is distilled water. It's got cane sugar, tussled silk fibers, and sodium lactate. That's what's going on in here. And I'm going to go just up to emulsion, and we'll start splitting off. I do have the fragrances off to the side because I've never soaked with it before, and it's new. It only had like 1 review. on the website Wholesale Supplies Plus. So I'm proceeding with caution. Even though that one review said that it was good and their own assessment was that it didn't cause trouble, sorry. But, you know, we're just going to do it one little bite-sized piece at a time. And just going for emulsion here. So I have the stick blender in here and I'm stirring with it. I'm not pulsing. Then I'm going to pulse. So, you know, kind of going slowly. And I am soaping at about, oh gosh, I took it a little bit ago, about 75 to 80 degrees is what my basement soaping temperature is at right now. I mean, the basement's cooler than that, but that's what my oil and lyes are, right around there. Typically, that's about the temperature that I'm soaping at, usually 80 or below. And that's Fahrenheit for me here in America. All right, here's my little leaf green. I'm just gonna pour a little off there. Don't need much for the leaves. And we'll just set that off to the side. It's the next day and I don't have a lid for this because it's over on top of some soaps I just made. So here it is. Isn't that fun? Just kind of looks like a little party on top. And I love how that yellow went like orange. Yellows are so fun when they morph. But anyway, I'm loving the colors. Let me tell you, this fragrance, it smells great, but it was very slow tracing, which is great. Lots of time to play. I got impatient and piped a little early, so some of my dollops aren't as stiff as they could have been, but I still think they're really pretty. And I literally, for the leaves, I just walked away for about an hour and did other stuff and came back and piped in the leaves, and they were still soft. They were pipeable, but soft. So anyway, here it is. Let's get it out of the mold and see how that inside came out. The layers, I'm loving the colors, and these kind of make me happy. So let's get in here and see what we've got. Back with the lovely Olga, and I am anxious to get in here and see how those mica lines look in the middle. These are just so fun. And that color, okay, that is definitely an olive green, but it's representing green apples for me. Okay, we're just going to pretend like that's, I need to get a Granny Smith green color. That's what I need. But I think it's a beautiful, you know, fall, winter color. So let's get these cut and see how these lines look on the inside. Oh, I love it. These are making me so happy. Apples, happy, all the good stuff. Right? These tickle me. And again, this was a slow-moving fragrance, so even though there aren't a lot of reviews on Wholesale Supplies Plus right now, this was a good one. Smells great too. That sort of apple-y, but not just apple. It's definitely got some, you know, woodsy in there too. Oh, happy. All right, and I'm loving how cocoa looks for a mica line. I actually prefer cocoa to activated charcoal for the lines because it sort of absorbs, and so you don't run the risk of having like dry pockets. So I really love the cocoa lines. Plus they look really cute. All right, let me keep going here. All right, I'm sitting here beveling, and these little soap shavings are so adorable, and they're still pretty pliable. So I am going to show you what another thing you can do with soap shavings off of your soap bars. And this is actually what I did when I very first started making soap and beveling them, and I had all the soap shavings. I would literally save them all up, wet my hands, and make soap balls, and I'll show you how to do that. So I'm just going to get these all beveled up, and then we will come back and I'll show you another creative way to save your cute soap shavings, because those colors are too cute to pass up. So all right, let me keep cleaning here. Alright, so this is an entire batch of soap shavings here, and because I made this yesterday, they're still pretty wet and pliable, so I don't really need to wet my hands. If it had been 48 hours or more, all you do is just wet your hands with warm water and do this, and you just want it to stick together, so just literally grab them and mush them together. I mean, this is so low tech, but it's so cute, and My grandson loves soap balls. I have a girlfriend that always, when I first started making, it's like, will you make soap balls for my son? He loves them in the bathtub because they're just like the perfect little hand size. So I'm literally just mashing this together, and there. You save up a whole bunch of these and put them in a jar. Is that adorable or what? It's like a little marble. And there it is. That's one way to recycle your trimmings. Here.